Tonight on Prime Business, State Interest and Governance Authority (SIGA) concludes probe into financial infractions and malfeasance by state-owned enterprises captured in a 2021 audit report.
There was misapplication and misappropriation of funds in some instances, and some of these defaulters have been named in our report for the appropriate sanctions to be taken against them. Then there is also the issue of risk management.
Meanwhile, Finance Ministry assures it will address issues raised in COVID-19 Auditor General's report. And customers of UTRAC Savings and Loans besieged Kaswa branch to withdraw their savings.
I have been selling someone else's bread to make some money for my children. I came to save my money with them and they didn't say anything and they left. They should give me my money.
And now the details. The State Interest and Governance Authority (SIGA) has concluded a probe into the financial infractions and malfeasance by state-owned enterprises captured in the 2021 audit report. This is to meet the directive by the President to ascertain the causes of the 17.4 billion irregularities flagged by the Auditor General. The Chief of Staff, Ofori-Atta, received the report on the President's behalf. There's more in this report.
According to the 2021 Auditor General's report, some state-owned enterprises lost a total of 17.4 billion cedis as a result of what the report described as failure by these SOEs to do proper financial reporting and internal auditing. The State Interest and Governance Authority (SIGA) conducted investigations into the development and found that lack of proper procurement processes, misappropriation of funds, lack of collaboration with internal auditors, and low monitoring and supervision are to blame for the infractions and malfeasance captured by the Auditor General. Ambassador Edward Boateng is the Director General of SIGA.
We realized that what we like to term schoolboy mistakes or class 1 mistakes were because a lot of the CEOs just don't pay attention to the Auditor General when they enter their premises. I think sometimes in the haste to get to the end goal, sometimes people just don't follow due process. Then also we realized there was misapplication and misappropriation of funds in some instances, and some of these defaulters have been named in our report for the appropriate sanctions to be taken against them. Then there is also the issue of risk management, and that's something that we believe that you have to bring to the attention of government, that people who are put in these positions should understand the results of their action and inactions.
The Minister for Public Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, said there are plans to sanction specified entities that will fail to implement the recommendations put together by SIGA.
I have said and had discussions with the Director General SIGA, thinking through possible sanctions that will be meted out to the specified entities that will fail to implement the recommendations to the letter. And one framework sanction that has come up in our discussion is for us to make recommendation to Minister of Finance to use withholding of budget releases as a punitive measure for non-compliance in this regard.
The Chief of Staff, Akosua Frema Ose Opare, says government will ensure the SOEs prioritize the reporting of their financial status to enhance accountability.
All SOEs are expected to mainstream appropriate implementation measures to carry out the recommendations detailed in this report. Thus, the government expects all SOEs to ensure the following: prioritize the preparation of their respective management and audited accounts in a timely manner. To collaborate with SIGA and the Office of the Auditor General to urgently clear the backlog of unaudited accounts by the end of the year. To prepare management responses to audit queries and red flags raised by auditors. Lastly but not the least, keep an updated asset register end land title registrations at all times.
The government says it is doing this to ensure the profitability of state-owned enterprises.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance has assured that it will address all issues raised in the report on the audit of the government's COVID-19 expenditure by the Auditor General. Now, Ghana's international creditors have started pushing for more details about the composition of Ghana's debts. This is the latest request from the Paris Club following the government's request for reprofiling of the country's debts and possible cancellation. Judge Efi has the rest of the story.
Coming from the creditors committee that has been formed by the Paris Club to look into Ghana's application, the committee wants to get fine details about which countries Ghana is indebted and the terms of the loans. This would help to better reconcile the numbers for any action going forward. The development may help in understanding the true position of Ghana's indebtedness to the group of 20 developed countries members. There is the framework that has been established with the full support coming from the IMF for countries that have requested for debt cancellation. It is believed that if government is able to deal with this challenge, then maybe the February ending target set by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to reach a deal with the Paris Club in terms of their commitment to cancel Ghana's debt may come to pass. Getting this deal may also help Ghana in securing the IMF board approval for the country's program to turn around the economy.
Now, Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry Herbert Krapper is urging investment authorities on the African continent to form partnerships to support businesses on the continent. According to him, the dream of making Africa one market can only be realized if authorities charged with the government work together in promoting their businesses. Herbert Krapper spoke at the opening of the Maiden Assembly of African Investment Promotion Authorities in Accra.
The summit is one major platform by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and other investment bodies on the continent to rally support for foreign direct investments into Africa. The program, under the theme, The Role of the IPAs in Facilitating Intra-African Trade, is aimed at finding common grounds to deal with challenges of low foreign direct investment flows within the continent. According to a Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Herbert Krapper, working together with a common framework is the surest way to ensure that intra-Africa trade becomes successful.
It's the fact that you are working together, that you recognize that if you came together as a body to put your energies and your resources together, we would be able to make more gains for the continent and for our member states than if we saw our roles as individual ones. And that is very important also, because once we are working together and we are speaking to each other and we are aligning resources, we are able to prosecute an agenda that fits directly into Africa's Agenda 2063. And I believe that that is important and is worth mentioning.
The Chief Executive for the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, believes the time has come for the continent to pay some attention to value addition to industry.
The African continent is probably growing faster than any other region in the world. I mean, I had the big surprise when in 2021, in looking at our numbers, fintech fintech transactions in Ghana alone was approximately $120 billion. We would have wished that our GDP was $120 billion. But we can do that if we work together and look at the opportunities that we have on the continent, such that the minerals in Ghana can be used anywhere on the continent. The minerals in Southern Africa, in Northern Africa, Eastern Africa, and the rest of Western Africa can be traded amongst ourselves and optimized amongst ourselves for our own benefit. And therefore, we have created an internal economy that will benefit us all.
Meanwhile, Executive Director for the World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, Ismail Ersahin, said Africa is becoming the next investment destination, hence the need for policy frameworks to attract more FDIs.
Customers of the Kaswa-based UTRAC Savings and Loans this morning besieged the bank's premises to withdraw their savings. According to the angry customers, the financial institution had remained closed for the past 2 months, and efforts to get the bank officials to heed to their concerns proved unsuccessful. Here's more.
My money is over 16,000 cedis and my daughter's 3,000 cedis. So it is more than 200,000 Ghana cedis. I'm taking my money. They should give me my money, else I'll look for any means to take my money. They should bring my money. I was saving it. My child has finished school. I was going to use the money to pay fees, and now the money is locked up. Time is up and I haven't received any money to pay. I am a single parent and I have 4 children. I have been selling someone else's bread to make some money for my children. I came to save my money with them and they didn't say anything and they left. They should give me my money. My contribution is 6,000 Ghana cedis and my sister's is 2,000 Ghana cedis. So we beg them. We have suffered to save that money. So we are pleading to them to have mercy and pay us our money.
Heads of the University College of Management Studies, UCOMS, has been urged to utilize the knowledge acquired to create jobs. President of the Wisconsin International University College, Professor Obeng Miracle, said it is time they created more jobs to reduce the unemployment rate in the country. The following report has more.
In his speech as guest speaker at the 12th congregation ceremony of UCOMS, Professor Obeng Miracle urged the graduates to exhibit high levels of dedication, accountability, integrity, and honesty in all their professional careers, as well as complement government's efforts in socio-economic development.
Your people and the country have made in you a great investment. You are an asset whose contribution to nation building is much expected and will be much appreciated. Strive for continuous professional development. Complement government efforts in the realm of employment by striving to become your own employers, and you will appreciate the dignity of labor. Mr. Chairman, permit me to caution my dear graduates that life is not as rosy as it appears out there.
Vice Chancellor, University of Education, Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke, in a speech read on his behalf, charged the graduates to be part of the solution to Ghana's problems. Meanwhile, consulting rector of UCOMS, Professor George Kankam, said the school's curriculum is industry relevant to make the students marketable.
Despite the global recession and its attendant challenges, UCOMS has initiated measures with human face to make life manageable to students in the form of reasonable academic fees and flexible mode of payment of fees for students. In addition, UCOM as a private institution has started to collaborate with other higher educational institutions and has signed memoranda of understanding, MOU, with sister institutions to restructure curricula and make them more industry relevant and responsive to the needs of industry in the new normal, and to make our students more marketable.
Chairman of the University Council, Professor Vladimir Entridanso, in an interview said UCOMS will be introducing new programs in areas which will benefit the Ghanaian society.
UCOMS is a specialized kind of university college, basically in the business world, auditing, accounting, human resource management, and supply chain management, etc., etc. We are again unique in the sense that we are bringing out new programs, very new programs, in areas where we think will benefit the Ghanaian society. And I think the Vice Chancellor has done so well in that area that this year, after COVID, we are seeing the need to expand and to diversify. Diversification is very important for every university. If you don't diversify, you will be churning out your graduates who are, one, unemployable because the economy does not need them, and then unemployable.
Charles Dakwa, who pursued BSc in accounting, was adjudged the overall best graduating student. He also won the Founders Excellence Award. Mr. Darkwa delivered the valedictory address on behalf of his cohort and expressed profound gratitude to the university community and loved one.
There were times some of us thought of giving up. At a point, some were disappointed. In the decision to come to school, some lost interest and chose new directions in life. Studies to some of us were really challenged as we found it difficult adjusting to the way of learning due to the coronavirus. But with all this, my heart is filled with joy because our sacrifice and toils have not been in vain. Indeed, we have made it. As Aristotle said, the root of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet.
15 of the graduates had first class, 80 second class upper, 36 and 4 had second class lower and third class respectively.
There's a still prime business. Now, management of a Ofori fruits and juices factory in the central region has assured the public that its products will be sold throughout the country and on the international market by the end of this year. According to the Director of Operations, Frederick Kobna-Akwa, the demand for the products both on the Ghanaian and international markets has shot up, hence the demand outstripping supply. Speaking to Joy News, Mr. Akwa stated that the wide range acceptance of the products has made the company increase its raw material base. There's more on this report.
The Ofori Fruit and Juices Factory has been in operation since it was commissioned by the President in 2020. The products of the factory have been one of the most sought after, with the company making inroads internationally. Currently, some of the equi-juice can be found at Amazon and Walmart, and the company believes they could make significant impact internationally. Management of the factory says, contrary to speculations that the factory has been shut down, the company has even now extended their operations to the neighboring district, the Gomua West district, that has led to the cultivation of over 1,000 acres of pineapple. Operations manager of the factory, Frederick Kobna-Akwa, assures the product will be all over the country because of the huge investment they have made in raw materials.
The workers, you saw the harvest, we ate the pineapple from the farm. We came to the factory, we've seen the workers working, we see the juice being produced, we drank the juice. But somebody sits out there and says that, I hit my chest and says it's gone. You can see, as we saw on the farms, large acreage of land. Today we have had the chance to visit 3,000 acres. So I say ayiko to all of you because it's not been an easy trip. Most of it we have to now drive through some of these plantations. But at least, seeing edge to edge of 3,000 acres, I can say ayiko. But to tell you the truth, this is what we do here every day. We are working seriously at our export by mid-year. We've done all the preparatory works, and I showed some of you some of the documents that we have. So we are hitting the US market. So we are hitting the UK market. As we speak, we are doing one to Dubai and many others, but these are the major ones.
The company says it's now mentoring other factories in the region, and they are desirous of ensuring that the central region becomes a huge industrial hub. One of the factories they are mentoring is a Central Citrus Processing Factory that's also under the One District One Factory.
What they want to do is to set up a factory that takes the oranges from this enclave and then do the extraction of the essential oils here and sell it to whatever market I don't want to mention the countries, but those countries will sell to. So that is first. But then it brings up the question, what happens to the pulp? So Ofori's mentoring is kind of, okay, so we are kind of creating a certain strategic partnership where we can also benefit from the pulp. Because Ofori, in doing the mixes, also does tropic ginger and all of that. That require citrus, the pulp of citrus. So basically that is what happens. Now what you see here is a $1 million orange industry or enclave that we're standing in. So much. But unfortunately, because of what has happened along the years, there's no value. So people have orange farms and it doesn't mean anything to them because if they harvest, a few ones will collect it and go to the market. You saw the pile we saw on the road that I was showing you. So people drop it by the roadside, hoping that a buyer will come by. But the market people will buy just a few.
Mr. Akwa explains that the company is still carrying the spirit of the 1D1F initiative by government and will do a lot to ensure that the Made in Ghana agenda by the government survives. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyako.
Some small local businesses within the Central Business District of Accra have hinted shutting down operations due to the hike in utilities. According to them, they can't cope with the impact of the rise in tariff on their operations. Some owners of the businesses claim they would have no option than to lay off workers and seek greener pastures abroad. They spoke to Joy Businesses' James Ishan.
Creditor, for 2 weeks, before say best solution. Amount for 2 weeks and not 3 weeks. Now better than the commander, so be you profits Kakrana was what the aqua commander. The Oko Bank now. Months need to less away now, or more percentage number. We shall our own bank of a book in a tie. I can see a baby can't rough work as yet your goose. Yes, society and your bread.
These were some concerns of Hajia Fati. She has been operating the coast store for nearly 10 years. But she informs me that she will cease operations in March 2023. She claims if she had known that things would pan out this way, she would not have ventured into the cold store business.
System because it's a Juma way.
Now, the cold store industry is in terrible shape. You can't buy more since a carton of fish or meat costs over 300 cedis when it used to be a little over 100 cedis.
Over 100 cartons, I say, what about down to 29, 28? Imagine, then you're living it here. What for? Any day, and grow. Yeah, say, who bet me out?
Within a day or two, we purchase electricity costing 200 cedis. Each month, we spend up to 6,000 cedis on electricity.
Government and bombarding no show ye Juman because Nancy yet to say yet to take your manoson. By new manos so much in your peja
as quickly as feasible. The government should intervene.
What you say na first is creditors so mo boy am I ye adwuma na etimi fanhye say say omo susu na omo kra nyoma ne ba no onya ko obi nyoma ho pe e cash and carry one channel situation it na living no very very hard. First ye gi loan ba loan no ye be compare who say wo gi loan na ye stress.
We don't even consider going to the banks, so instead we go to the businesses to get the fish and meat on credit. However, occasionally, due to the state of the economy, they have also chosen not to provide the products to us.
For 2 weeks and not 3 weeks. Now better than the commander, so be you profits Kakrana was what the aqua commander. The Oko Bank now. Months need to less away now, or more percentage number. We shall our own bank of a book in a tie. I can see a baby can't rough work as yet your goose.
The banks are not an option since we can see their staff pursuing us for their money as if it were intentional.
From the Malamata market, I visited some bookbinders. At exactly 8 a.m., Mr. Muzu and his employees have started binding some books while some are ready for the market. On the outside, everything appeared to be well, but within, things are really difficult for these workers. According to Mr. Musu, the increase in tariffs will compel him to lay off some of these workers.
Since last year,
Since the children have returned to school, we are now conducting business. Although last year was pretty concerning, we are coping this year.
7 cedi, 8 cedi last year, and 15 cedis, 17 cedis. That is supply. The tobacco market in the Kromoton 20 cedi near the Intino. Ama, your production are going more than academic. And already Nankasano, Nemane Bo. Nemane to Tonakasa Nebo Ayate. Inti say, I buy some almost a day, sa and to Monosabaka, yeah, electricity near water bill. Not just say, Mini say books, no, yeah, cranny the market, you bet matter books.
Things are already expensive. So adding this increment would require us to raise product prices, making things even more expensive.
Light any issue because the more na I say 80% light the.
My next stop was at the door of Abena Pukia, a disabled person who makes do with the meager income she receives from selling pipe-borne water. One may assume that the increase in utility cost would bring her more money, but she claims that it will instead deter others from coming to buy the water from her so she can make some more money.
For
the past 3 years, I have been selling water. It was okay when I first started selling water compared to now. People seem to be having a lot of difficulty, which has impacted all of us. People now even purchase water on credit. Given that they are a regular customer, you would have no choice but to accept.
She explains to me that individuals who would typically buy 3 buckets per day are now content with 1 bucket.
Some people even go a week without purchasing or paying for any water. If the increase goes into effect, it will have a huge impact on me. As a result, even though water is a necessity, the business would be expensive because every expansion would require me to likewise raise mine. Since the going is tough, we want the government to step in. Although we realize they can't change anything, if there are any steps that can be taken to help stabilize the situation, I believe they should be taken right away.
But one and shall do go upon Emma form said a bear will be a who bet me at on one. You bet me a use soon, so I see a use at the year, your day.
Most businesses are unsure of how to respond to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's announcement regarding an increase in the end-user tariff for electricity and water. For Joy Business, James Eshen.
And that's a wrap for Prime Business. I am Maame Esi Thompson. There's more news on myjoyonline.com/business.